I'm Jose. This is my 2008 C6 Corvette. I'm gonna take you for a ride. Let's do it. I got my Corvette back in 2011. Summer of 2011.
So did you, were you in the market strictly for the Corvette, or were you looking at other cars? What were you what were you looking for?
So it's a funny story actually. My wife and I had bought a Prius, really nice Toyota Prius. But you know, we'd go out and we didn't have kids back then, and it was just kind of like, maybe we should get something sportier. Don't get me wrong, the Prius is great, but you know, we wanted something with a little more power to it. So one day we get off work and we're driving down 80, and I get off on Madison. There was a dealership, a car dealership there. So I go and we're driving by and I see this really nice Cadillac CTS. Well, I said, you know what? Let's pull over. She's like, why? I said, I don't know, maybe we should get something sportier. So we go, we get off. We get off the car, we park, and of course a salesman comes up running up, you know, hey, how you guys doing? Do you need anything? I'm like, no, we're just looking. Okay. But he still doesn't go away. So
they do that. They're pesky.
You're right. Exactly. So anyway, so we look at the CTS and I look at the interior and I'm like, you know what? This is just not doing it for me. It just seems pretty basic. Unless it was like the CTS V, but you know, it wasn't. It was just a regular CTS. So long story short, we go and we're getting ready to leave, and I look at the Corvettes, and they had a few of them. They had the Z06, they had a nice ZR1 up on front, elevated on this platform. I mean, beautiful cars. So I go, let's look at the Corvettes real quick. So we gotta start looking at them. And the interior, and once again, pretty basic. You know, most of them had just a regular radio. You know, seats were leather, but it was just all plain Jane, like one color, the whole thing. And I said, yeah, it's just not doing it for me either. So we're getting ready to go. We're walking towards the car, and over in the parking lot, more towards the front of the entrance, not where all the cars that are for sale are, there's this black C6 Corvette. And I was like, oh, nice. I always like the color black. So I said, okay, maybe let's look at that. So I go, is this for sale? He goes, that's the boss's car. I go,
yeah?
Really? Yeah. I go, is it for sale? He goes, I don't know. I said, okay, well, before I even make a big deal out of it, I get close to the car and I look at the interior and I go, oh my God, this has to be for us. Like, I love the interior. Two-tone, navigation, heated seats. So you get the best of both worlds, right? Luxury and super, you know, supercar, super fast. But it's just a regular C6, right? So, you know, I'm like, wow, this is really nice. He goes, yeah. He goes, the boss really wanted all the options on this car when he ordered it. So it's a Z51. It's a LT3 or TL3 or something like that. So it's got this bigger suspension, stiffer suspension, selective ride. It's got bigger slotted brakes. You know, a little, and then of course inside it you see the two-tone on it. For the leather, which I love the brick color to it. It gives it a little, you know, makes it different. Navigation, you know, all that stuff, his and hers, air conditioner, all that stuff. Which back in 2008, it wasn't in all the cars. You know, this was, you had to pay a lot of money for. That's when I seen this car. I said, okay, I like it. So I said, hey, give the boss a call and see if he'll sell it to me. He goes, okay, let me go and check. So sure enough, he gets off the phone with him. He goes, okay. He says he'll sell it to you, but it's not going to be cheap. I said, well, before anything, let's go for a drive. So once we went for a drive, I was like, oh shoot. I said, I'm sold. I love this car. I love the handle on it. I love the sound. But what I really love the most, which is something small, but you know, everybody has their own little things on what's special to them, was the muffler, the exhaust. Loved it. You know, it's nice and loud. It's got quads, so it's 4 exhausts, you know, together, 2 on each side. But the really cool part was that there's this little alarm looking thing, little button, and you press that, and it shuts them off to where now you only have 2. It sounds like a V6. Very, very quiet. We lived in this apartment complex, this condo, where, you know, I didn't want to bring home like a really super loud car that everybody was gonna hate me. So that was like, you know, something small, but that was something that made it special. That made it pretty cool. Along with the interior, like I said, you know, it's very comfortable. Heads-up display. You know, it was really good. So, long story short, we traded in our Prius and we took the Corvette home. I couldn't be any happier. LS3 motor, completely stock, bone stock. It doesn't have. I didn't feel like putting anything in it because it's already fast enough the way it is. But you know, the nice thing about this car is that they're very, very easy to work on. Believe it or not, I've done the oil change on this thing. I've done the spark plugs, the wires, the filter, everything myself, and it's not any more difficult than a Honda Civic, Honda Accord would be.
That's cool.
You know,
so if you're looking at for a C6, you can probably be expected to do a lot of your own maintenance then.
It's a Chevy.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. You know, it's American made and it's easy to work on.
Are the parts cheap?
Very cheap, actually. One time, the only thing that has ever gone wrong with this car was when I was getting off work and I go to open the door and it wouldn't open. The door actuator went out on the driver's side.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. It's gonna be a few $100, maybe, you know, a couple $1,000 to get that thing fixed.
Yeah.
I called the dealership. They're like, oh yeah, we have one in stock. It's $70. You can come pick it up. It's 2 bolts. Could not believe it.
That's awesome.
I changed it myself.
Awesome.
So they're very, very easy to work on, and the prices are not gonna be anything, you know, out of this world or anything like that. Well, you know, you gotta do your homework. This car is very simple. There's not many gadgets to it where, you know, it doesn't park itself. It doesn't do any of that. You know, it's really not a gas guzzler either. Yep. I'm getting like 22 to 24 miles to the gallon on this thing when I'm not stepping on it. Yeah. You know, and it's my daily driver, and it's overall it's a great car.
Cool.
You know, it's a really good car. So what you see is what you get out of it. You know, once you drive it, you see how the handling is, and it's amazing. It's a little super car, you know, with the price point of not a supercar. You know, I mean, you can grab these things for fairly cheap nowadays.
So you get a lot of bang for your buck.
You sure do.
Yep.
You sure do.
Would you suggest the C6?
Oh, definitely.
You're probably not going to find anything at this price point that can match the performance of this car.
No, really, you can't. You know, it's just it's a very good intro car to get into a supercar. But at the same time, you can keep it for a long time. I mean, look at me. I've had this thing since 2011. I got 102,000 miles on it now. And the car still runs beautifully. I still get to drive it. I still get, you know, people looking at it all the time. Obviously, I've done some stuff to it, exterior-wise. I've wrapped it twice instead of painting it and spending thousands and thousands of dollars. instead I chose to go with a wrap, and just, you know, once you get tired of it, you just go and get it taken off.
Very cool. So, you talk about getting a wrap twice. This is your second time owning this car, correct? Can you tell us that story real quick?
Yeah, so really cool story. All right, so remember, I told you we bought the car, we drove it home, drove around for a little bit. I had just gotten married with my wife at that time. So of course, kids came, and my wife got pregnant, and I couldn't be any happier. However, I knew I had to get rid of that Corvette. My payment was like almost $1,000 a month.
Wow.
With the insurance on it. Yeah, when I first got the car. And I was like, there's absolutely no way that I can spend that much money on a car and feel okay with it when I know that I have to provide for my family, my kids. You know, diapers aren't cheap, and as you guys may know, you know, diapers and formula are very expensive. So I told my wife, I made the decision. I said, I'm gonna sell the car. She goes, but you love the car. I said, yeah, but I also love you, and you know, the fact that you're pregnant. So let's just sell the car and, you know, see what happens. So we sold the car, and we got a Toyota Prius back. So here's the thing, here's the cool part. I sold it to a buddy of mine who I knew would take great care of this car. He was moving to Idaho. He had just turned 40 years old. And he says, Jose, he's like, I've always loved your car. I'll buy it off of you. I said, hell yeah, I love it. Let's do it. So he came, test drove it. We went to the bank, and you know, he took over the payments, and he bought the car. And I said, oh, that's the last time I'll ever see this car. Well, I kept a pretty good relationship with my friend, and you know, communication. And sure enough, about 4 or 5 years later, he calls me. Hey, I'm in town. Want to go for lunch? I said, okay, let's go for lunch. I'll pick you up. I said, all right. So he picked me up in the Corvette, and he drops the bomb. Hey, I'm gonna sell the car. Do you want to buy it back? And so, of course, initially I say, what the heck am I going to do with the Corvette right now? I have 2 kids, because by now I have 2 kids. I said, no, man. I said, no. He's like, all right, just drive it. He's like, take it for a spin. I said, all right. So sure enough, I drove the damn car, just like the first time at the dealership. Drove the car, fell in love with it again. So I come home, and I tell my wife, you know I love you, right? She goes, yeah.
Good way to start it, right?
What did you buy? She always tells me that. What did you buy? I said, listen. It's a great deal. He's giving it to me for super cheap. And you know, it's our old car. I mean, we have a lot of memory with this car, right? Memories. She goes, okay. So I start telling her the details, how much she wants to sell it to me for, and the car, how many miles it's got, and all those things, right? And she says, listen, Jose. She goes, I know you're not gonna make a stupid decision based on emotion.
So, got her fooled, yeah.
So she goes, if you think the car is worth it, buy it. However, you have under one condition. You have to drive the car. You can't go buy it and park it and drive it every weekend. I want you to drive the car. I said, deal. So ever since then, I bought the car. I drive it every day to work. It's my daily driver. And lucky for me, I only drive 12 miles each way to work, so I'm not putting a bunch of miles on it. But I love driving it. Every morning I wake up and I'm getting ready to go to work, and I turn it on, and you know, I love. After a stressful day, I go to the garage, I turn my car on, and it just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's a de-stressor. It changes your mood. That's what a lot of people don't realize about car people, is that if you get a car you really enjoy, anytime you have to drive somewhere, it's an enjoyable experience. You get to, it makes everything a little bit better. It's kind of it's like having quality things in your life. It enhances every aspect of that. is this car better the second time around?
You know, I tell you, it is. It's you know, I'm more mature now. I don't step on it like I used to. I take care of my car. I love my car. I keep it nice and clean and washed. And like I said, it's got a special sentimental value to me. And the fact that I have, you know, a lot of history with it now too. I'm not planning on selling anytime soon. And I get people all the time, hey, you want to sell it? I'm like, no. You know. And once in a while on date night, you know, we'll get a babysitter to come and, you know, and watch the kids, and we'll go in the car and, you know, I'll hold my wife's hand, and, you know, we'll be like when we were little kids, you know, not little kids, but, you know, when we first met, and we're going on our first, you know, dates and stuff like that before kids. So yeah, I love this car. It's good. It's, you know, I wouldn't change it for anything.